Hi everyone, how are you? So I'm working in the portrait of HP dedicated to the South Asian Heritage Month, and this month is going to be for Jaina, dedicated to Jaina, and I'm working in one specific portrait that I wanted to do, and this one consists to talk about the image that you can have in your portraits or with your photographies. In the first step, I create one portrait with Jaina, and this one is the full portrait. Then I ask my colleagues, to Jenny, to Penny, to Pete and Z, to create some prompts in order to see how the artificial intelligence create an image with these prompts, with this text. And here I have some examples about what the artificial intelligence created for us. And now I'm crafting that portrait of portraits, I will say. And one of the things that I'm doing here, as you can see, I started to put these portraits in some jars. And once I'm going to finish to put all these kind of jars, I'm going to give you the next information about what are the symbolisms and what is the idea behind that portrait. You have another one. Now, once I already printed all the images, I put it in the jar. I go to the next step, and is to create the setup. And for me, the setup is quite important, is because it's where I decide all the elements that I wanted to put it in that image, all the symbolism and all the representations there. In that case, I start just, as you can see, playing with the backgrounds. And in this specific portrait of HP, I put a special attention about the backgrounds because, as you know, Jaina, she has an heritage from India and from Africa, and I wanted to experiment about the backgrounds just to put a lot of colors, a lot of different patterns, because I wanted to follow to celebrate the heritage of Seydou Keita. He is one of the most important African photographers, and he used to work very well with all the backgrounds in a different aesthetical point of view that we are accustomed here in Europe or in the West. Then the second element is this kind of branches, and I put it here because I'm going to work with these aesthetics in all the portraits with artificial intelligence. I'm going to put this one, and this one is representation, because normally for me that image when it's in jar is like you have a constraint, but always you have one way to flourish, one way to be more human and to have a creation, and normally is from your head where you can flourish. But here, as you can see, the artificial intelligence is not going to be able to do it. And at the same time, I bought some flowers, and of course I'm going to put the flowers in the main portrait with Jaina, just to be sure that it represents that she is going to flourish. And one of the things that I was imagining is when I finish that image, and I will going to show the image to Jaina, I'm sure that she's going to have some feelings, some emotions, some thoughts, some questions, and we are going to have that communication. But this one is impossible with the other portraits. It's not feelings, and nothing is going to happen after all this work, but it's going to work with Jaina. I think this one is one of the things that is relevant. The other element that I'm put it here, as you can see, I normally to the jars I put some water because the water is going to give some level of stress to the image and every single portrait, and for me it's a little bit of the representation about the stress that we have when we are working for big corporation, even if it's nice or not, but every quarter we need to deliver one number, and this one is part of the stress, the representation. Once I set up all these elements, then I need to work with all the lighting. I need to be sure and careful about the refraction. This one is going to be one of the most important things that I need to be careful. And the other thing, I'm going to shoot with f12, ideally f16, because I wanted to have the full details about the images, about all the portraits, and then I'm going to change the angles, about how I'm going to take the picture, just to see how it's going to work better, all the different patterns and all the elements that I created with this image. And after that, probably we are going to see the final image. Let's see. And before we go to the final shooting, here you can see all the elements that we have been talking are with you. So everything is ready just to go to the final shooting. So that was the way that I'm creating that portrait. So let's go to the final shoot, and then I'm going to show you the final image. And here you have the final image. After all this work, I finally can see how is the image that I imagined. And in the portrait of HP, I put it this image and I wrote some text. And I would like to read that text for you. At last, our conversation turned to the nuances of living with artificial intelligence, prompting me to create a thought-provoking photograph that raises questions about AI-generated images versus photographs documenting a specific person. The final image of this issue consists of a traditional portrait of Jaina alongside 4 other portraits created using prompts for our 4 colleagues in the UK and Ireland Multicultural BRG by 4 different artificial intelligence. With this set of images, I hope to prompt the reader to consider the following questions. How does emotional perception of an image vary between an AI-generated image and an authentic photograph of a real person? What does it mean to document life through images? And how does this meaning change with the introduction of AI? What is the relationship between text, image, and the reality in the context of AI-generated images compared to traditional photograph? How crucial is to have a credible representation of your identity, memories, and ancestors in an image, whether real or AI-generated? When someone describes a person we don't know, how does our imagination work? And what biases and prejudices might we project based on real or AI-generated images? Thank you very much, and I really love to share with you my process in order to create one image that is thought-provoking. And as you can see, sometimes in one image you can have a lot of symbolisms and you have a lot of information that you wanted to deliver to the person that is going to view that image, that photograph. Thank you.